Hello everybody and welcome back. So for today's video I decided to introduce you to my setup for The Land of the Snow, since I'm preparing a concert for this project. First of all, what is The Land of the Snow? The Land of the Snow, it's my heavy metal oriented project. What I do, it's a mix of doom metal, sludge, post-hardcore, whatever. So just to give you a bit an idea what's the direction of the project. It's the only project at the moment where I have songs which have a fixed structure. It's not related to improvisation as the rest. And as you see, the main pedal board at first glance it's quite similar to the one I use for my ambient set, but I have few twists. First of all, I told you The Land of the Snow I have songs, so I need backing tracks to be played on stage, and to do that I have the Boss RC3. I use the Boss RC3 for a very simple reason. It's I can load my backing trap in this one, and I have the memory slot in the Boss, and I can upload the backing tracks in the RC3 so that I can follow my set list. And also to use live it's super cool, because all I have to do while playing The Land of the Snow is just first do a play on the first song of the set, and then as soon as I'm at some point in the middle I can just push this switch, which will just trigger and prepare the upcoming track to be played as soon as this one is over. And so this way I can easily play my set and skip from one track to the other without having an headache of using something more complex like a computer or whatever. Then the guitar. Guitar, as always, I use my Baritone Nude guitar, and also everything goes in line to the PA as the backing tracks, so I don't use an amplifier. And the core of my board, as always, it's my AMT SS20 Preamp. Now, doom metal sludge, so I need heavy distortion sound, and for that I always use the crunch channel of the SS20, which is my main heavy distortion sound, and it's something like this. Very often I combine this with the drop, which is set for the octave down with the dry sound, to have a more beefier and fuller sound. In case I need a low gain sound, then what I do is use the lead channel of the SS20, so I kind of like I flip the meaning of what is crunch and what is lead, so I have a sound which is something like this. But it's used only on few spots, not so often as the crunch, which is the main thing. Then another trick I do on The Land of the Snow, and it's something I always love to do, is to stack fuzz pedals into the crunch. So what I use for these are two pedals. First one, it's the Earthbound Locust, which is a Boss HM2 clone variant. Cool thing about this one is that I have a separated control for the mid band, and it's a parametric one, so I can precisely tune in on which band I'm boosting or cutting the frequency. and often also combined with the drop together, the three, so it would sound something like this. The second pedal I use is the MASF Epilepsy. MASF Epilepsy is very cool, I love it. It's an oscillating fuzz, super mad, and it's a mayhem generator, and it sounds like this. Super cool because it's also very reactive to the guitar volume, so I can, with that I can modulate a bit what's happening on the noise. In between these two now I have a Raptio, also by MASF. I don't use that so often, mostly to do some lo-fi free sounds on some clean parts, like something like that, and often it's normally combined with the video delay as well. Okay, after this first section I go into a wah-wah. I use the wah-wah on one song. It's on this outro part where I do kind of like some filter sweeps with that. Then after the wah-wah I go back into the SS20. After the SS20 there's this tiny heavy box, which, depending, not for the end of the snow, but depending in other situation, I can use this to select the two outputs of the SS20. One being with a cabinet emulation, like now, so, or also there is a second one without the cabinet emulation. So for example I use that for Mulo Muto, or in case I would use this pedal board into a guitar amplifier, so I don't have the cut off the filter and of the cabinet emulation. After that I go into the Strymon Timeline, which is my main delay. Now here for the Land of the Snow I use 3 presets. And the timeline, together with the timeline I also have this expression pedal to control mostly the repeat feedback knob, or also, depending on the preset, I combine it with some other parameters to have some different movement. And the preset I use on the timeline are 3. The first one, it's an analog delay. Which I love very much because it has this very crunchy, distorted feedback runaways. Second preset, it's based on the ICE engine, and here I have a very slightly pitched down thingy happening, so it creates this wonderful cascading effects. And the third one, on one song there is this clean guitar part, so I programmed this dual delay, which kind of like fake a delay being fed into a reverb pedal, also here with the combination of the expression pedal. After the time, now I go out stereo and I go into the HX Stomp. HX Stomp, in this context, it's kind of like a bit over the top, because I only use that. First, combine it on this tiny auxiliary switch, I can access the tuner, which of course is always super handy. In the chain, in the preset for the Land of the Snow, I have first on the input a noise gate to tame a bit the noise from all the distortion. Then I have a spring reverb, which is always on, just to give a bit more of stereo wideness to the sound and a bit more of dimension. It's very slight and also very in the background. And then I programmed another effect I love a lot about HX and the Line 6. It's the particle reverb, here combined with a pitch delay in case I would need some drone pads somewhere. And also, but it's more an utility, at the moment I don't use that, I have a very long reverb. And actually, for the Land of the Snow and also Mulo, I tend and I prefer to use more delays than reverbs. I think in this very more noisy and distorted situation I like better to use delays, because for me it's more, gives you more definition than a reverb. And also for Mulo and the Land of the Snow, instead of the HX Stomp, since I don't use that all the possibility of the HX Stomp so much, what I do instead is use the multi-stomp by Zoom. Here I have also a dedicated preset for the Land of the Snow, where I have first a noise gate, then this slight reverb, and then I go into a particle reverb. Zoom is also an emulation of the Line 6 particle reverb. And then from this spot I go stereo out to the PA, with maybe sometimes the twist if I need maybe to have some noise or ambient breaks between the songs. Sometimes I would also have before going to the PA a stereo looper like the Electro Harmonix 1340, just to have a simple looper in case, to have more this be able to create these ambient breaks somewhere. Tiny in-between update about the HX. What I decided to do was, yes, keep the particle reverb thingy for the drones and the tiny reverb. Instead what I did was removing the very long reverb. Instead of that I put in the chain at the very end of one switch looper, and thanks to the command center I programmed the switches so that this one is still my on-off for the particle, and here now I have a record overdub for the looper, and here play and stop. With the play and stop hold, in case I need that, the reverse effect. So this way HX makes a lot more sense than before, and it's better. And that's it. Actually, it's as you see, it's very similar to my ambient pedalboard, but it's totally used in another way. Maybe more it's more simplistic way than the ambient setup, where there are really also use a lot more the possibility of the HX Stomp in FX. But it's functional to me, and for the Land of the Snow is super cool. Actually, on the HX Stomp I have also a preset which it's kind of like, it's called the Land of the Snow Mini Live, which would be, I did that in case I would just need an even smaller setup, so that I can only take the preamp, HX Stomp, the drop, or maybe the two Fuzz pedals. So I can do it also in a more compact and travel friendly setup. Okay, then thank you very much for tuning in, and if you are watching this video before the 27th of March 2022, I really would like to see you and hug you at the Ebrietas in Zurich, together with Merda and Skrei. Okay, then thank you for tuning in, and see you soon.